Alright, welcome back everybody. We're going to do a tomato review today on this tomato right there, and that is called the Wine Jug Tomato. And I believe that's a creation of Brad Gates from Wild Boar Farms, and he makes a lot of really interesting tomatoes. I'm actually a real big fan of his varieties, and this is one of them. I've been wanting to grow this now for a couple of years, and I just haven't got around to it, but now is the time. So let's take a closer look at that, and then we'll throw some of these on the scale, and we'll talk about this tomato in a minute. So that's it right there. Look at that. Isn't that a crazy looking tomato? Talk about piriform. Wow, that thing's weird looking, man. That's just one of them. There's more on the plant. They're all green though. These are the first to come ripe, and actually, one or two of these weren't fully ripe, and I had to just get it off the plant. It was breaking the whole plant down. This one here, I think. So it wasn't fully ripened, but you can see it's still green on top, but it's ripe enough for me to do the review. In fact, we're going to cut that one open on camera. Let's cut that open. Wow, what a tomato. Now, normally you don't get tomatoes that look too much like that. Most of your tomatoes are going to look like this, and they don't get too much bigger than this. I guess I'm not sure what size this is. They get a little bigger than this as far as size, but not that much bigger. At least mine didn't. Maybe next year they might. So you figure this maybe almost doubled in size. You can say they can get as big as. I mean, obviously that one got bigger, but this is from fascinated flowers, so that's why you get these weird ones sometimes. The flowers are fascinated. Let's take a look at that on the inside. Man, that is absolutely freaking gorgeous, man. Look at that. This guy's an artist that creates these things. He really is. This Brad Gates, this guy's an artist. I mean, it's hard for you to tell, but you could see it, like the purpling in the seeds, that green color. That's that blue color. I don't know what he mixed this thing with, what he bred it with, but man, what an interesting looking tomato. So yeah, that's it right there. Let's throw this on the scale, give you an idea of the weights between these two. Okay, that's 2.3 ounces for that. So that's probably going to be your average, to be honest with you. But when you get them big like this, they can weigh as much as 5.6 ounces or 158 grams. So that they can get this big in general. So you're talking, they can get 6, possibly even to 7 ounces. It depends on the conditions. Most tomatoes generally tend to stay around the same size most of the time, but that's not always the case. Some tomatoes, they can get really large. The flower gets a fascination to it, and then it creates these long, oddball shapes, which is not normal for that normal tomato variety. And you just get these really big ones. So let's do a bricks on that. Let's see what the old Brixerini says. Nice and watery, boy. Ooh, that's got some water in it, that one. Okay, that's 5 on the bricks. I thought it'd be a little higher. I will check my bricks meter after this review just to make sure that we're reading it correctly, but it says 5. I'm assuming that number's not right with that because that thing looks way, way too much. Alright, so let's take a slice off of this. We'll go with the top half for this one. See what that tastes like. Yummy. Okay, so let's get on with the review. So the sweetness on this thing, the bricks meter said it was about a 5, so I would probably say that's pretty accurate. I'm going to go about a 25, 26 on the sweetness. It wasn't terribly sweet. Again, that could be manipulated. I can manipulate the sweetness with my tomatoes by adding a little more lime, or add a little of this, do a little of that, maybe a little more sunshine, a little bit more love, and then next thing you know, your tomatoes are getting sweeter. It kind of changes from year to year, but this particular tomato, it was about an average on the sweetness, maybe slightly higher, like I said, about a 26, maybe 27 on that, if you're comparing it to like store-bought tomatoes. So yeah, the sweetness was there, but not as high as I thought it was going to be. Like I say, the bricks never lies. Now, when we talk about tangy, the tangy part was on the high side. That was definitely 28, 29, possibly even 30 on the tangy. So it was a little bit more tangy than the sweetness, but the balance was pretty good. It was kind of short-lived on the upfront flavor part of your tongue. So when you first eat the thing, that first flavor you get with your tomatoes, that was kind of lacking because you need that sweetness in that beginning part. It didn't really have that, so it was kind of almost going on a slightly bland side a little bit. But then when the tangy part kicks in, it makes up for it. So it definitely delivers the full beefsteak type package flavor package. I don't know any way to describe that. You get a good, it's not 100%, and I think I can actually manipulate those numbers to get those numbers a little bit better. It's just a matter of soil condition for these slight changes. But in general, in my opinion, it wasn't bad. Yeah, the tangy was a little on the high side. Now, when we talk about tomato flavor, the prominence of the tomato flavor, I'm just going to go a little bit above average. I'm going to probably say that was about a 6 on the tomato flavor. Again, when we talk about tomato flavor, we're talking about intensity of the flavor, how strong was the flavor. So it wasn't terribly strong because it was kind of weak over here. This weakness really brought those numbers of the intensity of that flavor down. Had this been a little bit higher, and that tangy being the way it was, that tomato flavor would have probably been like a 7, somewhere in there, maybe 7.5. But we'll go with a 6. It was pretty good. It wasn't terribly bad. I mean, between 6 and 5 is where you want to be. 5 is average. That's like a store-bought type of tomato. So we're definitely up a little above that. And I was just hoping for a 7. It was I can't really give it that though. It's still a good tomato though. Now, moisture. We're going to go about a 6.5 to possibly even a 7. The moisture was very good. It was very delectable. So as soon as you ate the tomato, it literally turns to liquid in your mouth. And this is about normal ripe, at a normal ripening stage. So it just melts in your mouth very quickly. The flesh just dissolves very fast, though it's firm. But it was a nice moisture level with that. So again, about 6.5, possibly 7 on a moisture. Tardy or sour, there was no tardy or sour. Undertones, there may have been a little slight something of an undertone. Again, the undertones are the part that is more towards the aftertaste rather than the foretaste, the front part of your taste. So as far as the undertones go, I would probably say it's very, very low. It's definitely lower than 1%. You wouldn't even know it is on there. Texture was perfect. I'm going to go with about an 8 on that texture. That texture was absolutely delectable. When you eat this tomato, it literally melts in your mouth. This tomato, that meat just literally melts. It looks like you're gonna have to chew it. No, that's like ice cream right there, folks. That's like an ice cream sandwich. And the seeds, of course, they're loaded with liquid, so they really wash everything down. But texture, we're gonna go about an 8, probably even go 8.5 on that. That texture was very, very, very nice effect I got in my mouth from it. Production was okay. In fact, I might even kind of go a little bit lower on the production. I think I could probably bring it, but I don't want to shortchange it because my plant got blighted a little early this year, and it looks like it affected a lot of the flowers. So I'm not going to get that many off it. Though I don't want to blame the variety simply because of an environmental condition. So for now, this year, I'm just going to go production at just an average. It was just an average producing tomato variety. Though I do recommend if you do grow this variety, it doesn't seem like it gets very big. My advice is to grow this thing in a pail or something by itself. It's not a fast-growing variety. All the other varieties of tomatoes will outgrow it. So grow it by itself away from the other ones. It's a small, stunty, little, stocky little type of plant. And it seems to be a little picky on those kind of things. So you might want to container grow it. Just keep it away from everything. Skins were good. We're going to go with probably a 7.5 on the skins. It was very good. They broke up good. Nothing stuck to the roof of my mouth, so that was good on that. Seeds, we'll just go average on the seeds. It wasn't nothing, spectacular as far as high seeds, low seeds, just average on the seeds. What's my overall rating on this? I'm probably going to go with, say, I'll probably go with a 2.5. The only thing that's really saving this tomato, believe it or not, it's not so much on the flavor profile, though the flavor was good. It's just what's kind of hurting that rating from going to being like a solid 2 or even a 1 at some point, because it's actually a fabulous tomato. The only thing that's really saving it is really the texture of the tomato is absolutely a perfect type of delectable texture, which I really look for in tomatoes. This tomato delivers that kind of very unique texture experience when you eat it. And the other thing I really like about this tomato is this piriform shape. I think that thing is absolutely fascinating. It looks like a fig or something. And so, a very fascinating shape. And they don't get, like I said, mine didn't get too much bigger than what you see here. They got to maybe 1.5 times the size. I have to see. I'll do more images at the end of the year. And you can see that it's got this nice copper top on it, and then it gets nice and purple on the bottom. It's a nice tomato. That's what really saves it mostly. The flavor wasn't exactly 100% where I'd want it, but that doesn't mean that it's going to be like that for you. Your growing conditions and your environmental conditions could be different. It's a nice tomato to definitely give a try. I definitely thought everything else was good. It was just the sweetness kind of, it could have used a little bit more on the sweetness. That would have brought up the tomato flavor, and my numbers would have been higher. But it's still a good tomato. I would still grow it anyway, to be honest with you. It's simply for the oddity of it by itself. So anyway, guys, that's it. That's my tomato review for the Wine Jug Tomato. And what I'll do is I'll leave links in the description below where you can pick up seed for it. We'll also leave whatever information we got on this tomato in the description. All right, so anyway, that's it, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you on the next one. Take care. Thanks.